and this is the Hamish and Jordan show here at 2BACR 100.9 FM. And on the line now, guys,
we're starting hour number 2 now, Hamish. So it's just gone after 6.
We have indeed.
But now we have
the Isotopes on the line, and they're coming to do an interview with us and have a bit of a chat. And I hope they're on the line. Are they? Hello?
Hi.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey,
not much, guys. Thank you for joining us. And for those of you out there, they're joining us in the morning. This will be played in the evening, but I'm really thankful for these guys for getting up in lockdown early this morning and joining us on the line.
No problem.
Thanks for having us.
No worries. So I was saying to you guys, as we had Hotel California blasting in the background before, I was saying to you guys, I just chucked that one up to kind of give us a little bit of a briefing and stuff, and just talk to you guys. And I just wanted to say, I was saying to you guys, I came across your music almost by accident, but it's kind of been a blessing in disguise. One of my friends kind of dropped the name of you guys to me, and then I've been sussing you out for the last 2 weeks and learning about you, and kind of finding out your story, secondhand or firsthand probably. But I wanted to hear it from you guys. So how did you kind of start, the band?
Oh, man, it was so I think I'm the only original member. I actually started the band out of spite because I was in another band prior to, and then that kind of all fell apart. So I decided to kick everyone out and then start Isotopes.
okay.
And the only thing was though, I didn't really know what I was doing.
Yeah.
And I used to write songs about positivity or positive messages and stuff, which is a good sense of where you should kind of start.
Yeah.
But I felt like I was just kind of lying to myself a little bit.
Yeah.
Just because it wasn't really a true form of what I wanted to do. And I don't know, I think as my life kind of unfolded, things started happening, and it just made me really want to write about the truth and, take my own interactions and experiences and just kind of put that into context for people to relate to and, build a fan base around that. Because if you could feel something throughout your music, certainly someone else would be able to relate to that and be hey, have that connection with you, so that when people come to the shows, they're going to be you know what, I felt that too, or I've had this experience, and have a proper conversation with them, as opposed to having conversations with people about songs which I used to write about positivity but just didn't really mean anything to me.
Yeah.
As bad as that sounds, it was just it was very forceful and stuff.
Yeah, I know. Well, I see where you're coming from. I feel like it's easier to relate sometimes with people's flaws than it is to, relate with their, their positive assets sometimes. So I feel like that's a good thing, and it's also a good thing, too, because if everyone kind of comes out and promotes a positive message, I feel like it just gives the, the general public a false kind of identity.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's good for people to know that everyone goes through shit. Oh wait, can I swear?
Yeah.
Not really. We don't even have a dump button, so. But I think we can get away with it. That one.
Exactly. Everyone goes through stuff and things, so I think it's really good that people can relate to those sort of things, so that they know that they're not alone.
Yeah, for sure. So when you kind of go back to the start, and you talk, the journey of kind of creating a new band, did the members kind of leave gradually, or did you kind of kick everyone out at once and then go, now I'm stuck by myself and have to kind of put it together from
and started fresh?
Yeah. Or did everyone kind of?
That was with my old band. So basically, when I started Isotopes, it was fresh. It was just me, and I basically picked up members from fans of my old band, and everyone just started I don't know. It was either, if people weren't as committed as I was, then the former members of Isotopes, they would just ask to leave, or they would kind of know we're going to get someone else. So it all came down to who was committed the most and who was actually wanting to contribute. And it wasn't actually, because I think this was back in 2014.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't actually until maybe the beginning of 2016 that Josh, our guitarist, actually came on board. And then me and him just decided, you know what, we're just going to do everything, and then kind of like pull the weight and, you know, get people on board that want to have the same kind of like rise as us.
Yeah.
And then that's obviously the year that we brought out the Lost EP, and then that's where things just kind of started gradually getting good from there. It was like, you know, we got our first little EP out and people actually have this attraction to us and they have that relation, and then it just kind of like started building from that. So yeah, we don't actually consider ourselves starting until about 2016.
Okay.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
But even with like with your music, has it kind of been a you know, like organically kind of grown? You've kind of grown your audience like organically from you know, doing lots of like live gigs and people kind of finding out about you that way, or has it been more of a, you know, a bit of a like a digital approach, or how did it all kind of come about?
I think we're just really lucky, I guess.
Yeah.
Like Dreambound has been a massive help for us. Like we released a lot of our music videos through Dreambound. And when we first released Hurt off the Lost EP, it was kind of just like everyone just wanted to write about us. Like people in the UK, like magazines in the UK, like Discovered Mag. I think even like a big kind of like outlet that I found a lot of bands that I listen to is from Caliber TV in the US.
Yep.
And I found like heaps of heavy bands that I listened to just from that. And when we dropped the Lost EP, surprisingly, they just did a massive write-up about us, and they were just like Spotlight Artist of the Year. And we were just like, what the hell is happening? Like, you know, we don't consider ourselves the biggest band in the world, but like just having all these little wins constantly get under our belt. Like we even got featured in Rock Sound after we dropped the Fractures EP. And we were just like, this is absolutely psycho. And then 2 weeks later, we got offered an international tour of Japan. And we're like, what the? Yeah, you know,
Wow.
like, it's just luck. And then, yeah, a lot of bands that are like friends of ours have kind of said, like, how the hell are you guys landing this stuff? And we're just like, we have no idea. It just happens to be out in there. Like, and that's the best thing about like social media and the platform. It's, you know, once people kind of catch your name, it just goes up from there, which is all we can kind of really hope for.
Yeah, for sure. Now, man, you mentioned that tour of Japan. How was that? Like, what was that experience like?
Yeah. Give us
So, there is no word to describe how good that was. That was the best experience. Like, that was the first international tour for all of us. And, yeah, if we could go back and do it again, which they've even asked us, they wanted us to come back next year. And, you know, we just have to see how things go with international travel and that. But, yeah, they were just so accommodating, man. Like, everyone in Japan is so lovely. And every band is just so welcoming. Like, everyone wants to talk to you. And it's not like here where, like, when you play a show here, the band that plays last just rocks up when they want to play. Like, Isotopes, which, by the way, we don't do that. Like, every show that we go to, I make sure that everyone's there at the start all the way till the end. And then we're like
3 or 4.
Yeah, you're networking with all the bands and just kind of like making everyone feel welcome.
Yeah.
And that was the best thing about Japan, was they did that at every single show. Like, every band got a sound check, and then before the show, all of the bands and all the people that are involved in the show, they get together, and it's like they do, not like a blessing, but they do like a meet and greet, and they have everyone introduce themselves, and then they say, hey, let's have a good show. And then they all do that at the end, and everyone reflects on how good the show was. And you're like, this is psycho. Like, this is insane. Like,
wow, man.
Wow, that's good.
It's almost like they've worked out like music hospitality, you know, in a sense.
And that's why it's so good over there. That's why everyone appreciates it so much. And like, we were just like kind of like gobsmacked at how it was like that at every single show, like 7 days in a row, no matter how many people were there. And then even after a few of the shows, they're just like, oh, hey, we're deciding that we're going to get together and do like a dinner.
Yeah.
And it'd be like 11 o'clock at night after everyone's basically completely sweat out after a show, and they're still getting together to have like a dinner in the venue before they all pack up. Like,
oh wow.
Everyone in Australia wouldn't do that. It's just like the sound guy would be like, oh, you know, get out, I need to get home. Like,
yeah, pretty much.
I got to feed my cat.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I feel like it can be taken for granted a bit, like the amount of bands that we have, the amount of shows that we have, and like some people probably might just sort of turn up because it's like a job, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, that sounds awesome in Japan. I didn't go. I wasn't part of the band at that point. So
Oh, well, at least you have something to look forward to, like
yeah,
when the
I'm
world.
so keen.
As a musician, can you guys get working visas? You know how they're letting people travel overseas for
Exemptions.
exemptions
Yeah,
for work and things like that.
I'd say we'd be able to. I think the only dilemma with us, because we were meant to play in the US like next month as well, which
Oh,
we're not allowed
wow.
to talk about. We're not allowed to talk about, but I'll talk about it anyway because it's disheartening. Yeah, like we looked into all the options and everything to do it, but I think just with our country at the moment being with quarantining and everything like that,
Yeah.
it's not necessarily us getting over there. It'd be costly. But then, obviously, once we're over there, we have to quarantine for 2 weeks
Yeah.
at our own expense. And then, if we were to tour for a month or however long, that would be at our expense as well. And then coming back, we'd have to quarantine for another 2 weeks at our own expense.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
just don't have.
So, before we even jump on the tour, we're already in a month of quarantine at our own expense for there and back, and it's no one could really justify it. So we had to make the decision to pull the pin.
Yeah. That's such a
Which
shame,
sucks.
man. Like, what's the price of a quarantine? Like, are they charging you for the hotel room for all 14 days? Is that how it's working?
I'd say so, and the fact that we'd have to quarantine by ourselves, like not as a band.
Yeah, not as a
Yeah.
band. Yeah.
So it's all 5 of us paying for 2 weeks accommodation,
Yeah.
also not working for those 2 weeks,
Yeah.
and then like the trip and everything on top. And we were just like, we're basically going to be out of pocket like 20 or 25 grand before we even tour.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
wow.
Where were you playing? Were you going to California or?
We were going to Virginia.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
If you actually, I don't know if we can actually say it, but like, yeah, Blue Ridge Rock Fest. I landed a slot on Blue Ridge Rock Fest, so we were meant to play at that festival for like 25,000 people.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, and it sold out. Like when we saw the lineup this year, like
Oh, the lineup
the
is so
yeah.
stacked
Once
as well.
once we obviously get off this interview with you guys and that, and you get a chance this afternoon to look at the lineup, you'll see all the massive names on that, and you'll just be like, wow.
Oh, man. I feel like I'll have a look and my heart will break for you guys.
Yeah. Well, because we were actually meant to play it last year.
Yeah.
And it was funny because, like, this, I'm not going to name her name, but this girl in the UK wanted to be our manager because we were actually meant to tour the Philippines last year. We were doing an Asia tour. We landed a festival slot in the Philippines. We had a festival slot in Taiwan. And then we were waiting to hear back about Thailand. And then, yeah, this girl in the UK that wanted to be our manager, I was like, hey, what are the odds you reckon that I could land a slot in like, the US on a festival, and then we book a tour around that? And she kind of was just like, they don't speak to band members. They only speak to managers. Like, good luck.
Yeah.
So I actually emailed the people that run Blue Ridge Rock Festival, and I just, like, I think Bradley even pulled me up about it. Like, Bradley's our guitarist, and he was just like, man, that email is ridiculous. He kind of had to go at me because I was just emailing them as if they were one of my mates, and just like, I was like, hey, dude, like, yada, yada. This is our band. Like, you know, would it be cool if we were to jump on this team because we would really love to play the US and tour? And Brad's like, that's not going to friggin' work, man. The next morning we woke up and they sent us a contract.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was just like, oh.
I think that just goes to show you, man, as well, like, if you take initiative, it
Yeah.
kind of, it comes back.
Well,
But,
that's what we do with a lot of things, and that's the way that I approach a lot of things as well. Like, I think everyone always seems to think that you have, like, you've obviously got to be professional,
Yeah.
but the way that I approach everything, I was like, I tell everyone, just try to, like, speak to people as if they're your mate, like, as if you know them.
Absolutely,
yeah.
man.
You see the amount of emails that Millsy sends, it's like 50,000 a day.
Yeah.
I swear to God.
I
And
actually
I
think
always
you're.
second guess myself when I send emails, which is why I'm really scared of sending them.
Oh no.
Because I'm like, who is that? Who's talking? That's not me. So yeah.
I think you're onto something, man, because like I've noticed that recently. As soon as you start to send people emails like that, you kind of break down that wall. Because
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people, every time you go to send an email, you approach it like you start structuring it. It's like dear somebody, sincerely,
Yeah.
regards
Yeah.
or whatever. And as soon as you break that wall with somebody, it's kind of like, like you've it doesn't come across as like somebody else has written it for you, or it just comes across genuine.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I literally speak to them as if they're like someone that's just in my direct messenger or something like that. I'll just be like, "Hey, bro." Yeah, it's like I was like, "Oh yeah, that's sick," and I was like, "Oh, peace. I'll speak to you later." I was like, "Just eating some dinner or something." Like, I'll like, I don't know. Yeah, it's like, yeah, I don't know. I just kind of I'm in that state where it's like, you know, they'd rather have someone that they can just chat to and be chill with, as opposed to, because like everyone does that. Like they get that copy and paste email, and it says like, "Hey guys, really like digging this new thing, like check out this new track," and you're like, man, you're talking to one person. Why are you saying "hey guys"? Like obviously you copy and pasting that.
Yeah. No, I've noticed that as well, man. And like I feel like when you do that as well, like the person that receives the email is like, okay, we're talking directly, especially if you're like a band too. They would have responded and been like, oh right, now we don't have to go through 3 different people to reach you.
Yeah, you're actually talking to a real person.
Yeah, exactly. I can't believe that manager said that. That is like the like quintessential manager thing to say. Hey,
I got back to her the next day. I was like, "Hey, I landed that slot. Just want to let you know that we don't need your management like role." Like I didn't end up like pursuing her about it and that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like even like our like we have our PR team at the moment that's working on the Die Alone campaign. Like they sent me an update the other day with like some wins, and I literally I just wrote back. I was like, "Oh, that's effing sick!" Like I wrote it out as if it was like stretched out with lots of A's. Like yeah.
Nice, man. Well, I'd like and how did they respond to that? Did they have to come back all professional at the same time?
I think they would.
Yeah, they did.
All right, guys, we're gonna play your new track, Die Alone. What can you kind of tell us about it before we play it?
It's sick.
It's a dead set ripper, according to...
Yeah, it got played on Triple M hard and heavy last night, and Higo was just like, "Oh, it's a ripper."
Dead set ripper.
Wow.
Well, you guys heard it here first. It's a ripper.
Yeah.
Let's get
All
it
right,
on,
guys.
Hamish.
And this is the Hamish and Jordan show here at 2BACR 100.9 FM, and we still have the Isotopes on the line, and that was their new single, and what a ripper.
Yeah, it was good.
Dead set ripper.
Nice, guys. And yeah, what a song. Now, I wanted to ask, how did you record that song? Did you guys go to the studio and do it, or did you go record the drums and then do the rest on kind of like Logic or Pro Tools? Did
you do this during lockdown, or was it?
We did.
Oh, okay.
So I wrote that chorus probably after our Fractured Soul tour. I had that down towards like the end of 2019, and we actually recorded that in the studio in June of 2020. So we were meant to be on tour and obviously a lot of things. And then, we just decided to get to the studio and record a lot. We actually recorded with our producer, Stevie Knight, at Electric Sun Studios.
Wow.
Like, that guy's an absolute legend. Like, I actually have to meet up with him after we get off this interview today to work on some more music. But, so we recorded that during lockdown, along with a handful of others like Flower and Will You Wait For Me and other ones.
Other ones that will not be named.
Not yet, yeah. But yeah, so all the drums, everything's all done live in the studio and that, and yeah. Unfortunately, Ange wasn't with us for that one, but we have a couple of tracks that we did with Ange that will be coming out probably early next year.
Nice.
Yeah, because at the time that they were recording all that, they had me come as like sort of documenting it, like photography, videography, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Ange was doing our BTS videos and stuff in the studio, and like we parted ways with our bassist basically pre-COVID, while we were going in to do the EP.
Yep.
Just for like other reasons that we don't really like. There's no point getting into it, but so we went in without a bassist. We were just looking for ages, and when we were in the studio, Stevie was just kind of like, it'd be sick if you had like a chick on bass. I was like, it'd just be good to like as an image and everything like that. And we never really thought of anything. And mind you, Ange actually is dating my housemate, so we live together.
Yep.
And I never even knew that she played an instrument. And it was after we were in recording all this new music, and we were like having talks about getting a bass player. And I come home and I hear someone playing guitar and singing. I'm like, who the hell is that? Like, where the hell is this coming from? And I went upstairs and she's playing guitar in the bedroom, and then I was like, I didn't freaking know you played an instrument.
How did you not know if you lived together? Like, did the guitar never come out before?
Because they're upstairs and I'm downstairs, so we kind of like stay separated and that.
Yeah.
And it just never occurred to me. But we had like a housemate dinner in Bondi one afternoon, and Stevie, our producer, was there, and we were just kind of talking about it, and he brought it up, and he's like, have you found a bass player yet? And I had already had like a few too many margaritas, and I was just like, looked at Ange, and I'm just like, oi, play bass for us. And I swear to God, in like 0.01 of a second, she was like, yep.
Yeah, well, okay. And then after that, for the next, like, however many months, Millsy would just, like, text me every now and again being like, bass, play bass for us. And I was like, I don't even have a bass guitar.
Yeah. I'd be, like, super hungover. I'd wake up and be standing in the kitchen, like, somewhat half naked, and she'd just be standing there and be like, she's like, you've had a big night. I'm like, bass.
Yeah.
And,
Convinced me eventually.
Did you have a spare bass lying around, or did you have to go out?
No, I said to her, she's like, all right, if I do this, I need to get a bass. I was like, you say yes right now. I was like, I'll buy you a bass.
Yeah, he bought me.
Yeah, I bought her a bass, like literally, like online there and then.
Oh wow, man, that's so nice.
Yeah,
and
she hasn't been able to play it live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What'd you get? Did you get like a P bass or a...
So it wasn't like the toppest of the range or whatnot.
Yeah,
like,
it's just sort of a starter P bass.
It's like
it's not super flash or anything, but just something in the meantime.
No.
Like,
we
changed all the strings, changed all the pickups.
Yeah.
Done all
just
that,
because Ange basically she's left-handed,
Yeah, so
Oh,
it's really
So it's not
hard to
necessarily
find.
the easiest thing to find. And then
Yeah.
especially during COVID and local guitar stores and everything like that, you go into any one around Sydney and they have like one bass.
They have one left-handed bass.
Yeah.
We've
Yeah,
walked
that's
so many
always-
places.
so
Yeah.
you got a left-handed bass. You didn't do the Jimi Hendrix and kind of string up a right-handed one
No,
upside down.
I mean, I've tried that before with my guitars, and I just
Yeah.
was so uncomfortable with it.
Yeah.
We started telling her, we were like, just learn right-handed. And she's like, no. And then when we actually shot the Will You Wait For Me music video, how she's got the big double bass in the shot,
Yeah.
like we were filming all day. And it wasn't until the end of the day, she's like, guys, what the hell? I've been playing right-handed all day.
I was playing the double bass like right-handed, and I was like, but I learnt the song, left-handed on my electric bass and everything, and I had the muscle memory for it. But then as soon as I picked up the double bass, my hands just like switched,
Oh,
and I
wow.
was playing it like right-handed. I have no idea why.
You know what? I've heard that before. Like a lot of like, and I've seen it before as well. Like there's a lot of left-handed guitar players that I know that can do both as
Can
well.
do both.
Yeah, just because of the lack of like, like left-handed instruments, they kind of started right-handed and then slowly got a left-handed instrument over the years and can play equally well both ways.
Yeah,
But you might
it's
be on that track.
discrimination if you ask me.
I'm kind of jealous, man, because I can play guitar with my, I'm right-handed. But when I see people doing that, I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing. Because if I flip it around the other way and try to play with my left hand, it's just like I'm uncoordinated. I'm back to day one.
Yeah, you feel like a beginner again.
Yeah, exactly. And if you can do that for a song, I mean, like that's great. You must be more like ambidextrous than the rest of us.
I try. I have to in this world, in this right-handed world.
So give us a rundown, like who is actually in the band and like who does what? Because
So I do vocals. I do a lot of our like back end stuff and mainly like the planning and organizing and everything.
yeah,
I find myself every day just being like, hey, what did we do today? Or like, maybe we should do this, or this is what we should tackle. And yeah, it's kind of like my brain runs like 100 miles an hour, so I kind of have to constantly remind myself as well as reminding everyone else. And I don't know whether it's a good thing or it's a bad thing. I hate standing still, and if nothing's happening, then I'm like, shit, what are we doing? Like,
It sounds like you're the
I
motor.
mean, crap, what are we doing? Yeah, and like Joshy writes a lot of the music, and then we kind of go back and forth, and we'll just constantly change or swap it around. And because I don't really play instruments, I played drums before I did vocals, and then I'm like learning guitar at the moment, but it's going not that well. But like, yeah. So I'll send him like audio messages, or I'll be like, oh, why don't you do like a like some like it's just So I don't know. It seems to have worked over the years, which is good.
Yeah.
And then everyone just kind of like gets like set tasks and stuff. So there's myself on vocals, there's Ange on bass, Bradley's on guitar, Josh is on guitar, and he also does like a lot of our samples and backing tracks and all that.
Yeah.
And then Hamish on drum. Yeah.
not the Hamish in here in studio. Another Hamish.
No. Oh man, if he was on air today, you would have just been getting like 1,000 James Hetfield yeahs, like just yeah. You'd actually love that I've done one. You'd be like, yeah.
Nice, man. Well, it's a shame we'll have to get the whole band on another day. Maybe in the future you guys could even come here as a whole group, which would be cool.
That'd be awesome.
sick.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, hopefully after this lockdown we're going to get some cameras in the studio, so we'll be able to do that and stream it just as as well as doing it on the air.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Sick.
Yeah.
What do the next few months look like for you guys? Like, I know everything's like
Restricted.
yeah, I know that, but maybe once when restrictions ease, were you going to maybe go for a tour around Australia? I don't know.
Hey Jordan,
Well,
just
we recently had to cancel one of our tours.
Oh,
And then, a few shows that we were going to announce, we've had to cancel all of them. So I think we're just waiting for things to ease up now, and then potentially like try to book an Australia tour.
yeah.
And then hopefully by that time, like maybe, towards next year, maybe some international stuff can happen again, and we can start rebooking all of our postponed tours and really start opening back up. Because like our target was to try and go international. Like we're not the biggest band in Australia, but for some reason, like our market in like the Asia region is like big.
And the US.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like the US wants us. Like even the UK, like we've had offers even to come to I think it was like Italy or something. Like this band wanted us to come along and tour, but it was like this real death metal like kind of vibe, and I was like, oh, I'm not about that. Like it's just not really me.
Maybe not.
Yeah, it would have been sick, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so there's that. We've got to shoot a couple more music videos. We've got, as I said, we've got a handful of songs that we have ready to go, but we just are kind of buying our time at the moment with all these restrictions and lockdowns.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, at least look on the bright side, and it's probably better to be sitting on, you know, material and having a, you know, a bit of a back catalogue while you can, and, you know, instead being the other way around and, you know, being in lockdown and not having a little bit of a back catalogue, you know, ready to go. So, I mean, that is a good thing.
Yeah, because even now, like, even if we were able to record, we wouldn't be able to. Like, we're all restricted within 5Ks, and the studio that we work at is decent, like 30 or 40 Ks away.
Yeah.
So we're all just trying to write on the back end whilst also trying to maintain some form of like, what would you even call it? Like some form of like normality.
Well, at least look on the bright side as well. I mean, at least you don't have to go far for guitar lessons in the meantime, and can do a bit of that. I was just thinking, if your housemate as well, like, is left-handed. I mean, if you're right-handed and, you know, learning some guitar, you'd be like looking at a mirror.
Yeah,
we've
pretty much.
Tried.
We've tried. It just doesn't work.
I'm
Oh,
very
really?
bad teacher. Yeah.
Oh.
I'm more of like a, like, because I've got friends of mine that want to like teach me how to play guitar and that, and they're just like, man, I'm so keen, and then things look good, and it's like back to restrictions.
Oh, man.
And like I look up tutorials and all that kind of stuff too, because, and then I've been around it long enough that a lot of it's like easy to pick up on, but I'd just rather have face-to-face contact, because like when we were in the studio doing Flower and Will You Wait For Me, I was just watching the guys record, and they'd step out to have like a drink break or something like that. And I'd pick up the guitar and I'd be like, all right, let's record it. And then Stevie was like, are you serious? So I was like, yes, I've never played guitar, but I've been watching you guys play for a little bit. And I was like, I'd record a bit on the track, and they're just like, what the hell?
What the hell?
And it was
So,
good?
yeah.
Like, it actually stayed in the final mix?
I think they kept it as like the third take.
Yeah.
But he's like, even our producer's like, you've never played guitar. I was like, no. And he's like, far out, man. He's like, you should learn. Like, you should actually get like lessons. He goes, like, that's really good for like someone that's never played a friggin' guitar before. And then, yeah, that's what like encouraged me to do it. And then since then, I bought two $2,000 guitars. I bought like a $2,000 acoustic, and then I just had a custom-made electric guitar made. So I'm like, you know what? That's like my, like, basically my motivation. I'm like, yep, I'm gonna play now.
Nice. Well, now you have to learn. Now you've bought all the gear. You kind of have to teach yourself.
Yeah, it's either that or everyone just wants to use my
exactly.
equipment. Yeah, because
So-
Bradley, basically the electric guitar that I got made is a full-on custom built ET guitar, and I was asking Bradley on like, you know, what's like some good pickups and all this kind of stuff. He's like, oh, you should get all this and that. So I basically just got exactly that.
Oh, wow.
And he's spewing because he's like, that's the guitar that I wanted made for me. I was like, well, now I have it.
Now he's going to be over every day.
No, he said to me, he's like, oh, you should bring that to the music video shoot so I could use it. I'm like, oh, you're so dreaming, bro.
Now we're going to play another song of yours, guys. What can you tell us about Flower?
Oh, man, Flower. I love that song. That's probably like, I think when we were in the studio, that was like one of my favorite ones to record, because it was actually the first one that we recorded where I switched up my vocal kind of like push to an extent, and just tried going a bit more grunge with like the clean singing. And yeah, it's kind of like the Outbreak song. I don't know, I love jamming that song every day.
Nice, man. Well, anyway, we'll give the listeners, a listen, and yeah, we'll come back soon.
Yeah, we'll be
Sweet.
back.
Cheers.
This is the Hamish and Jordan show on 2BACR.
And we're still joined by the Isotopes, and they're still on the line. You there, guys?
Yo.
So now, where can we go? Like, if we want to find out, if the listeners out there, and also us, if we want to find out more about you guys, where do we go?
All right, so you can find us on all the social media platforms. Yeah, Instagram at Isotopes Band, Facebook/Isotopes. We've got Twitter. I don't think we have TikTok yet. We might have to jump on that. That's the new one.
You need to get into it. It's I
Yeah.
think it's
Hey, like we've all individually got it, I believe.
Yeah, we've all eventually got TikTok, but we just don't have a band one yet.
Oh, you have to.
Yeah. Our YouTube. What else is there? I think that's it.
Yeah, Bandcamp, Spotify, iTunes. all
Yeah,
Apple Music.
definitely jump into our Spotify and add all of our songs to all your playlists.
Yeah, we'll see them. We'll see them.
Nice. And you also, your new single, Die Alone, that's also on there as well?
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely on there, and everyone should jump definitely onto that YouTube clip.
Definitely.
It was pretty intense, that one, and yeah, we all had a lot of fun and also freaked out a lot doing it.
All right, you guys heard it here first. And thank you very much, guys, for coming on the show.
yes.
No, thank you guys
Thanks
so
for
much for
having
having us. We'd love to do this again sometime.
No worries,
Yes,
guys.
we would. We'd love to have you come into the studio.
Yeah, absolutely. That'll be in the future for sure.
Yes.
All
If
right,
you
I'll
guys
bring
are
the beer.
interested. And you have to bring your guitar.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.